A new Marquette Law School poll released today reveals how the race for Wisconsin's next governor is shaping up. Our Wisconsin State Capitol Bureau Chief Vanessa Kelson breaks down the numbers.
The latest Marquette poll was conducted before Sarah Rodriguez dropped out and David Crowley re-entered the race. But it does show nearly the majority of Wisconsinites are still undecided in the Democratic primary for governor.
So there is plenty of opportunity for this to shift. But exactly what direction it shifts, I think, is a wide open question.
Charles Franklin, the director of the Marquette Law School poll, says 45% of voters are still undecided. In the Democratic primary, the poll shows Francesca Hong in the lead with Mandela Barnes behind her.
His campaign needs some boost there to catch up. And the others who are down in lower ranks, they need something to shake up the race for them.
Let's take a look at the numbers. Hong continues to lead the poll with 26%, followed by Barnes with 15%. Rodriguez was polling at 11% before she dropped out. Joel Brennan and Kelda Roys are a distant 4th and 5th. David Crowley wasn't back in the race yet when the poll was conducted.
There was a sense that Rodriguez's campaign was surging before her financial problems came up, but we find that she was only at 11%.
In March, Crowley polled at 3%. On Thursday, Barnes and Crowley, who is endorsed by Governor Tony Evers, released their own internal polling. It shows Crowley is gaining traction since re-entering, but Hong still leads across these polls, too.
And within the Democratic Party, Evers' job approval is over 80%. He's a very popular figure within the Democratic Party. But that doesn't mean that that popularity automatically transfers into an endorsement moving voters.
This upcoming Tuesday will be the first and only debate between the Democratic gubernatorial candidates. Plus, next Wednesday, another Marquette Law School poll will be released. From the Wisconsin State Capitol, Vanessa Kelson.